Welcome to IGH Gone Rogue. Today is Monday, May the 5th, also known as Cinco de Drinko. And after a much-needed rest, we were actually bogged down in a bunch of projects that are going on. And since we haven't officially kicked off the podcast, and we've been playing around with it, bringing in good guests, having conversations, really trying to understand the right format, length, etc., and topics, we're back, and now we're back for good. No more breaks. Now we're kicking it off for real. You're going to see us really active on social media. Find us on TikTok. You can find me there on X, on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be pushing a lot of content. And, today, I kick it off with something very special. I wanted to come back and kind of say, let's go over the 100 days. But everybody's already done that, right? And there's something that is very important that nobody's really talking about right now. And those are the elections in Romania. And for that, we bring back our friend, Ron Aledo, former CIA, DHS, you name it, the Intel master. He's back. Ron, kicked this off really fast, man. I know you're very plugged in with the folks that are running in Romania, the guy that actually won, that beat the left and he's going into a runoff. Why don't you walk us through that entire situation? What happened? Where is it at? What are the next steps? And we can get into the geopolitical implications.
Well, thank you for having me here again. I appreciate the invitation. Well, bottom line, this is nationalism and patriotism against globalism. Globalism 101. I mean, the people who are having heart attacks because since November of last year, because of Trump victory, so now they're having a second heart attack in Europe. And again, another victory for the patriotic forces, another victory for the anti-globalist forces. Basically, a few months ago, what happened in Romania is that the patriotic candidate, the anti-globalist candidate, Călin Georgescu, he won the first round of elections. I mean, in Romania, you have to do 2 rounds.
Yep.
The first round, usually there are like 6, 7, 8, 9 candidates, trying to be the president. And then the second round is only between those 2 that have the highest votes. And obviously, in the second round, the candidate that have 51% of the votes or more is the one who wins the presidency. So a few months ago, Călin Georgescu, he won the first round in a very solid way. And obviously, a lot of globalists did not like that. And the democracy of the globalists means we like democracy if our candidate wins.
That's right.
If our candidate don't win, then we don't like democracy. We cancel democracy. So
and that's what they did, right? They canceled democracy, right? They canceled the election. Is that correct?
That's exactly what they did. I mean, you cannot call it better than that. I mean, I'm talking about Macron from France. I'm talking about Ursula, the von der Leyen, the European Union lady. I'm talking about Starmer from the United Kingdom. All these globalist rulers of Europe that hate Trump, and all of them have a heart attack when Trump won, and they don't know what to do now. So they want to prevent another person with the same worldview, with the same ideology and perception of the war, a patriotic, nationalistic force, to win in Europe. So basically, they canceled the election. That's exactly right. They sent an order to the Supreme Court of Romania. Basically, everybody knows that. They sent an order, cancel the election. The guy that we don't like won, so we don't like democracy anymore. And basically, they use any kind of stupid excuse. They use the guy. There was a lot of TikTok ads in favor of him in his campaign, and we think and we believe that those TikTok ads were paid by Russia.
Yeah.
That's it.
The same Russian collusion crap, right?
The same
and the same suspects in the EU that supported that, right? Germany, France, everybody, Backed it, right? They didn't sit there and say, hey, you can't do that. This is democracy. That goes against democracy. They supported and applauded, didn't they?
That's exactly right. I mean, this is the same script. Democracy is good only when our candidate wins. If our candidate don't win, then we cancel democracy. And they canceled the elections because of the TikTok ads. They canceled the elections, and later on, they also make some kind of funny fake investigation on the guy that I don't know what from, I don't know, 20 years ago, whatever. So they ban him from going back into the election. So they canceled the election, the first round, and he got canceled by the Electoral Commission, that he cannot present himself to the elections any longer, that he's banned candidate. So what he did, he took his right-hand man, Mr. Simeon. He's another patriot, another nationalistic patriot with a very similar worldview of Donald Trump, a very similar worldview of Bolsonaro, a very similar worldview of Orban, a very similar worldview of Santiago Abascal from Spain, and this kind of nationalistic, patriotic, anti-globalist force. Okay, so you're going to run for me. And yesterday, Mr. Simeon, he won in a more decisive way, even that Georgescu won several months ago. He got about 40% of the vote, and all the analysts and everybody that are analyzing the Romanian politics are saying that he's going to win the second round in a very powerful, strong way in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks is the second and final round of elections. Whoever gets the 51% of the votes wins automatically. It's only between two candidates. And the other guy, who is a globalist, who is let's gonna call it a Soros puppet, Macron puppet, Ursula puppet guy, who is the mayor of Bucharest, the capital city. Most analysts say that the guy has zero chance. So this is another cake on the face. I mean, egg on the face to all the globalists, and everybody who will still have a heart attack because of Trump victory. Now they're having a second heart attack because of this victory in Romania.
How is he? What are his chances in round two? Because you have, 60% of the vote out there that did not vote for him. Is he going to be able to peel off 11?
Yes. He's gonna take a lot of that vote. He's already working coalitions, and a lot of the people, the minor candidates, are already endorsing him.
Good.
They are already giving his support, and a lot of traditional parties from the center right and even the center, they are supporting him. So most likely I see an 85%, 90% chances that this guy, Simeon, who is a great guy, who will become the next president. And then this is what is very painful for the globalists. He's going to take Mr. Georgescu, the guy who won the council.
The original one, yeah.
And he's going to make him his prime minister. He's going to make him second in command. So and obviously as president, he's going to ban.
So they're going to have a heart attack, man. They're going to be crying in the streets like the liberals did when Hillary Clinton lost. Let me ask you a question. You're not only very intelligent in the intelligence world, but you're also extremely sharp when it comes to academics and the history of that region. Walk us through, explain to us, help us understand why this is important for the U.S. and why should we care what's going on over there.
Well, basically, Romania is one of those key countries that are in the east of Europe. They are Latin, believe it or not. People don't think of this because they are conservative, Orthodox Christian country. They belong to the Orthodox Church. Very few Catholics on the country. There are Catholics, but very few. They belong to the Eastern tradition, but they are Latin. They are Latin, just like the French, just like the Italians, just like the Portuguese. They are Latin people, only that, curiously, they are not in South Europe, they are in Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
And they control a very key assets because they are a very conservative country, a very traditionalist country. They control access to the Black Sea, together with Turkey and Ukraine. They have a large Black Sea coast, access to the Black Sea, access to the Danube River. I mean, the Danube River crosses Europe and ends in the Black Sea, and they have that.
Why is that important?
Well, that's a main traffic to Europe for commerce. That's a main traffic for military issues too. Most analysts believe that Ukraine is using the Danube River as a military hub right now. And obviously, it's very close. It's the closest you can be in the European land to Crimea. It's very close to Crimea. It's the closest you can be to Crimea. So obviously, it's an important hub. I mean, to have a face-to-face with the Russian military, and that's why the globalists want it so hard. Also, Romania have oil. It's one of the very few countries in Europe that actually have oil, that doesn't have to import oil from the Middle East or anything like that. They have their own oil. They produce their own oil, or producing country. It's in a strategic position, and obviously there is a fight between the globalists and between the Joe Bidens and the Macrons of the world, and obviously between the Trumps and the Orbans of the world for having an influence. And obviously the globalists wanted to use it as their puppet. Macron wants to make it a puppet of France, of the globalist radical liberal progressive France that he has. I mean, you only have to see the disgusting the disgusting openings of the Olympics last summer, so you understand the ideology of this.
No, those people are mentally insane. Yeah,
exactly. So that's Macron, 100%. The childless man that is married to a 25 years older woman than him.
Like Big Mike. Like Big Mike. Yeah.
So you can understand the mentality of these people. And Ursula von der Leyen, she's just a witch. She's just a radical witch that doesn't have any realism or any kind of common sense in her policies. She acts out of hatred towards Trump, out of hatred to the American interests, and she controls the European Union as her toy. And she's obviously 100% globalist, under the influence of George Soros, under the influence of all globalists. So that's the fight for Romania. Conservative, traditionalist country, Christian country, or Christian Orthodox country. They have a very important geographical position. And the United States can do wonderful things over there. I mean, when I say the United States, I mean the Trump administration can do wonderful things over there, wonderful investment for oil, for military bases, for access, communication bases, etc. What happens is they cannot have a globalist puppet, globalist president. But now they have somebody, they will have somebody, hopefully in 2 weeks, Mr. Simeon, and Mr. Georgescu as his prime minister, somebody that is a very friend of the United States, that can work together with President Trump, and they can work with the same goals and the same worldview and the same objectives. So that's what we're looking forward.
So who are allies right now, if you think about it? Can you name, I mean, you can name them in Europe today.
Orban from Hungary.
Yep.
He's a good friend of the United States. He's a Christian person, decisively. He's a very conservative person who he had been in Tucker Carlson many times. His hatred, the left hates him very much. The globalists hate him. Soros hates him very much. Biden insulted him all the time. Joe Biden insulted him and called him dictator, fascist, whatever, etc., etc. And so people understand. There was elections last year in Hungary, and Soros and Biden and everybody tried very hard to defeat Orban in Hungary, and Orban won again. I think this is his 4th or 5th term. He won again, and immediately, a couple of weeks after he wins, I mean, literally like 2-3 weeks after the victory, the USA director, USAID, the famous USAID director, she flies over there personally. She goes over there, and she immediately said that she will open a lot of democratic education programs in Hungary. That means soft coup,
Yeah.
regime change movement.
And we talked about that, right? How that the USAID was really just a CIA outfit and deep state
I mean,
operation. So.
the worst thing is that they were a tool of the globalists, a tool of Obama, a tool of
Yeah.
Biden, just for regime change, to create the mobs in the street mobs, general strikes, country strikes, to move governments as they want, to fund whatever, to fund the transsexual theater play in Peru,
Yeah.
to fund immoral anti-Christian books for kindergartens. That was basically, they were an ideological uh, tool for propaganda, for the globalist woke propaganda. That was basically it. And one of their duties was to create democratic education. Democratic education means basically we don't like you, we're going to take you over. We're going to organize a coup
Yeah.
to remove you by the mobs in the street.
That's
So
amazing.
Trump has Orban very strong for many years. They're good friend of Tucker Carlson, good friend of the MAGA movement. Trump has Fico in Slovakia. Slovakia, you know, Czechoslovakia was divided in two countries when at the end of the Cold War back in the 90s, and the Czech Republic became independent and Slovakia became independent. And it's a small country, beautiful country. I have been there. I trained the police over there. I went over there for a few days to Bratislava, and I gave a 3-day course of intelligence training to the special police in Slovakia, in Bratislava. Beautiful country, very good friends over there. And Fico is now the leader of Slovakia. He's also a paleo-conservative, a patriot, very much aligned. So basically, that's it. That's it. I mean, he has.
What about Italy? No.
Meloni is what we would call the rhino version of the conservative in Europe. She supposedly is a conservative and center right and right wing, but she's very far from being a true patriot. This is what we would call a rhino here in the United States, a conservative in name only.
A moderate Republican, a Mitt Romney type, right?
Exactly. I mean, sadly, because she has some real good people in her cabinet. She has the Minister of Interior, who is a real patriot, but she herself, she chooses to be a rhino, to be a conservative in name only. So
Yeah, that's a shame. So
everybody else hates Trump. Everybody else. They can come here and shake hands with Trump and say hello, but they hate him.
Yeah.
I mean, if you see the Twitter, I mean, the expose of these people just a few months ago, not to say a few years ago, we have to stop Trump. Trump is a fascist. Trump is a racist. Trump is a misogynist. Blah 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 blah. That's the same speech of any Alejandro Ocasio-Cortez or any Kamala Harris, of any Joe Biden. They were sure that Trump was done and over back in 2021, and they were just, thanks God we get rid of Trump. Now that Trump goes back, they don't know what to do because now he's the president of the United States.
What's the future? What's the future for NATO? What's going to happen with that?
Well, hard to say because Trump he doesn't like them.
I know.
He doesn't like them at all. He says, listen, we are supporting you. We are paying for your defense. We are paying for over 95% of all NATO expenses. We are the one who have soldiers over there. You don't pay for your own defense. And what did we get? We get nothing. You're just scamming us. I mean, so basically, they have a very hard position from the economic and military way, but also from the ideological way, because again, the speech that J.D. Vance gave in Munich a few months ago, that speech that he accused all of Europe, hey, listen, what are you doing with censorship, putting in jail people that is outside a clinic praying, you're putting people in jail because of a Twitter that hurt somebody's feeling. What the hell are you doing? That speech was a divorce declaration. It's the United States and the woke globalist Europe that they were divorcing. And basically now not only is you're scamming us and we are giving you a defense for free, whatever, but also we have very few in common. We have ideologically, we have very few in common. Why don't you just go by yourself? I mean, we should get a good divorce in good terms, in friendly terms, but be divorced, because basically that is what that speech of J.D. Vance in Munich was a few months ago, the separation of a globalist woke Europe and the patriotic, nationalistic, pro-Christian civilization, the United States.
All right, so another question that I wanted to ask you is, you're very, very familiar, and you've been following this issue for a long time, since before it happened, actually, the Ukraine-Russia situation, and wanted to ask you, what's going to happen there? There's been a lot of movement, a lot of stupid moves by Zelensky. It seems like Trump has been playing his cards correctly, but it seems like Putin hasn't really been engaging, right?
Well, Putin has been engaging, and I think that Putin has a phone call of 3 hours long with Trump, and there is a lot of diplomacy going on. Secretary Rubio with Minister Lavrov from Russia, the foreign minister, the foreign affairs minister. There have been a lot of negotiations over there, and in the Trump administration, you have people like J.D. Vance who really, really, really want to end this. And a lot of people in the Trump camp, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, also want to finish this. No. And Senator Rand Paul also want to finish this. What happened is there is a lot of people in Congress, a lot of the rhinos, a lot of the people who basically are the rhinos globalists that now did not really support Trump, but now that Trump is over there, they have to handle him.
Lindsey Graham, for example, right?
Yes, for example, he's a globalist neocon in charge. I mean, he and people alike, a lot of the establishment, a lot of the McConnells, and a lot of in the House, and they are pressuring Trump in the contrary. Let's do what Biden was doing. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep sending them $100 billion more every year.
But they just did a deal, right? They just did a mineral deal. What does that mean for us? What does that mean for the peace talks?
Well, basically Trump wants to say whatever weapons we gave you, whatever hundreds of billions of dollars we gave you in the future, or we may give you, is not for free. It's not a grant. You want it, you have to pay us, and you have to open your resources to the United States. Let's go and do business. So that was a way to engage Ukraine in a very different manner of what Biden was doing. Hey, I'm going to give you all the money, and I'm going to give you all the intelligence and all the support forever, for free, forever. And Trump said, no, let's going to work this as a business deal. Now, Russia is also offering Trump business deals, and they are also offering the resources and the minerals in the area of Ukraine that are occupied, or that Russia annexed. So he can choose from whatever side he wants to choose. The problem, again, I think that Trump has like the little angels in one side and the little demons in the other side, devils in the other side, talking to his ear. And some people say, hey, listen, let's go, like J.D. Vance, let's go and finish this. Let's go home. We're wasting here. We're playing with World War III. That's exactly what Trump told Zelensky. You remember a couple of months ago, in the very famous White House meeting. You are playing with World War III. You don't have the cards. Shut up. I mean, he told him that.
Yeah.
But also he have a lot of people in the other side, a lot of the Lindsey Graham, a lot of the Senator Cottons, a lot of the Joe Wilsons.
And I'm glad you're bringing that up, because it's a perfect segue into what I wanted to touch with you specifically. So we saw Walz. He leaves the NSC. The media says he got fired, but he didn't get fired. He went to the UN as ambassador. And Trump brings in Marco. as National Security Council advisor. I think that was a brilliant move, by the way. What do you think? And does that make Marco really, really strong right now in Trump's inner circle?
Well, of course, Trump has Marco in great regard. I think he's doing a great job as a State Department. You see Marco?
Yeah.
He have adapted his speech and his actions and his behavior to his boss, to the president. Because the Marco Rubio of today is not the same Marco Rubio of 2 years ago, of 2 years and a half ago. He have seen that Trump was about to win, and he has adapted perfectly to the Trump worldview, especially in Ukraine.
To the America First policies, right?
Exactly. And you remember his Marco re-election campaign a few months ago was very, very solid, very, very anti-woke, very much pro-family and patriotic. So he adapted himself. Let's say he said bye-bye to Lindsey Graham and to Joe Wilson and to the Mitt Romneys, and then he aligned perfectly and ideologically with Trump. So that's great for Marco. And he has been doing a great job.
Yeah, he's been doing a great job, and he's been and like you said, his what he says, his actions also are very, very clear. Very he's not fucking around at all. He's taking things very serious, and there's been some buzz. Obviously, everybody's going to talk because it's politics, right? Does this make Marco stronger than J.D. Vance? Does this put him in a really strong position for 2028? And, we're a long ways away from that, so we don't have to get into that. But the reality right now in the cabinet, Marco is the strongest member in the cabinet right now.
He is very strong. Yes, obviously, he's very strong. He has been doing a great job. And this is what happened. Walz, I think he made a mistake.
Yeah.
He have this Atlantic left-wing lunatic in his cell phone, and for whatever reason he was talking to him or texting him, or he had one of, sometimes you have contacts in your cell phone that you had 5 years ago and you haven't contacted with him or whatever, but you still have it in your contacts. And for whatever reason, by mistake, by one of his staffers, this is still under investigation, they add this lunatic from the Atlantic into the Signal Gate conversation. And that, hey, why do you have this guy who hates me? Why do you have this lunatic who hates me, this left-wing wacko, woke journalist over there? And why do you add it? I mean, how he ended up in my
in a chat group, right? With those members, that was crazy. And
so basically, Trump said, "Listen, I cannot get you at this level here at the White House, at the Eisenhower Building, the National Security Council building. That I have been there many times. I went over there many times for meetings with the interagency, the Eisenhower Building, just next to the White House." So he said, "Listen, you are going to the United Nations, was still a very respectable post, a very international post. You're going to be dealing with world leaders, and you're going to be having a lot of TV time and a lot. But I want somebody closer." I don't think Rubio is going to stay over there for a long time, because remember, the Department of State is in itself a full-time job that you need to travel constantly, travel the world, and you need somebody with a lot of experience and intelligence experience and war affairs and foreign affairs experience at the White House, in the Eisenhower Building, so they can go daily basis, 2-3 times a week to the president. "Hey, Mr. President, I recommend you to do this with Iran, but not do that with Russia. I recommend you to do this with South America and Venezuela, but don't do that with China." So that's a person that is also a full-time.
Yeah, but I think Marco is very well versed in foreign affairs. I mean, he was in the Foreign Affairs Committee in the Senate. I mean, he's been, he's been involved for a long time, right?
That is why Trump picked him up, because he had this experience for many years in the Senate to dealing with foreign issues, and he understands the foreign issues. That's why he brought it. And then he was not only understanding the foreign issues, he's understanding the foreign issues from the right perspective, not like Joe Biden or like any of these
Kamala Harris
handlers we're thinking, and oh, there is a country called Russia that is big, and there is a country called Ukraine that's smaller. It's not like that. Rubio understood the issues, and then he converted himself into the MAGA worldview, into the Trump worldview of these issues. That is a paleoconservative, pro-Christian civilization worldview and understanding of the issues. So he combined both, and then is when Trump said, okay, you come with me as Secretary of State, and now as a temporary national security advisor. But remember, the national security advisor is a full-time job, and the State Department Secretary of State is also a full-time job. So I think it's going to last only for a couple months while somebody prove to Trump, listen, I have the experience, I have the knowledge, I have the charisma, and I'm loyal to you enough. You can trust me to be your national security advisor.
As long as they don't bring back John Bolton, I think we're good, right?
That's another super neocon. That's the people, exactly. Listen, the John Boltons of the world and the Lindsey Grahams of the world, the establishment, the neocons, the globalists within the Republican Party, those are the devils that are in the shoulder talking BS to one-year Trump. He have very good people like J.D. Vance. He have very, very good people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, like Tulsi Gabbard, amazing woman, telling him good stuff. Those are the angels. But he have people like, not John Bolton because he's done, but people like John Bolton in the other shoulder telling BS to his ears. So that's the problem.
Hey, Ronnie, so quick question. You're a former military officer. You played in the intel world. You've been deployed I don't know how many times to Afghanistan, Iraq, etc., and probably many other places that you can't share with us unless you kill us that are probably classified. How's Pete doing?
I think he's doing good.
I mean, it was a shit show over there, and a lot of his close people got booted out, right? Got escorted out.
Yes, that looks bad.
Yeah.
But I think he's not taking any chances. Again, he's been active and proactive, taking care of. Listen, if you are a leaker or you are suspected to be a leaker, and you were doing stuff with classified information that you were not supposed to do, and that happens. But let me explain to you that happens. Okay, it happens. I saw it with my eyes. Okay, when you bring a lot of political appointees and staffers that they were very good in the campaign, but they didn't have experience in the government, they make mistakes, and sometimes they do a mistake without actually any evil intention. It's just lack of experience. So he was protecting himself, and this is the thing. He is a Trump MAGA guy. There is no doubt about that. And the guy is a military guy, and then the guy is a hardcore guy, and that's why the establishment, the Democrats, the rhinos, hate him.
And the Pentagon, Ron, is infested with these people, isn't it?
Well, they are. I will say they are infested with a lot of career people that have been there for many years, and remember. In Washington D.C., when you go to Washington D.C., as you should know because you live over there many years, a lot of the people who works in the government careers, they are either Democratic Party people. I mean, Washington D.C. I remember Hillary Clinton won by 93%. So you can imagine.
Well, we used to have a joke in D.C. that you could fit all the D.C. Republicans in a phone booth. You know,
there you go. So you have a lot of Democratic Party. I mean, all the northern area of Virginia, Arlington, Alexandria, Rosslyn. You have all the southern part of of Maryland.
Yeah, Prince George's County, Montgomery County,
etc. Those are liberal people. So you have a lot of people that are Democratic Party activists and loyalists. You have some that are Republican, but mostly rhinos. I mean, Republicans, and a few guys that are MAGA, loyalists. Okay, but you need to go to Fredericksburg. You need to go to get out of Washington D.C. area to find those MAGA people. There are only a few. So when you have a real MAGA guy, a real guy that his tattoos just talk by themselves. He's for the last years in Fox News, he has been saying what he really thinks about Trump and the MAGA movement, and Trump placed him in such a powerful, mighty position of the Secretary of Defense. Obviously, all the globalists, all the rhinos, all the Democratic Party press and the media will try to destroy him, and they are after his head because they hate him. They hate what he represents. A Christian, conservative, MAGA guy at the top of loyalists to Trump. They cannot stand that, so they want to destroy him, and hopefully he will survive because he's a very tough
Yeah,
guy.
I think he's going to survive, right? Because I think everybody thought that he was going to be dead. I think it was last week or the week before, and Trump came out. I mean, well, there were so many hit pieces on the media that were saying he's out, he's gone, he's not going to make it to the end of the week, and here he is. And Trump backed him wholeheartedly. I know you got 2 minutes left. So my last question, I know you're her number one fan. We like her as well, Tulsi. She's been behind the scenes. I haven't seen her, a lot of her, or barely anything.
Well, she had been doing some interviews, and she had been on the media. I mean, she was with Meg Kelly just recently in a very nice interview, and she's still posting her YouTube channel. The people need to understand that ODNI have a very good reputation, the position, Director of National Intelligence, but it's not a mediatic position. It's not a position that you will see very often in Congress, giving declarations, in giving speeches. It's not, I mean, she will sit obviously in the National Security Council, she will sit in the cabinet meetings, but she's not going to be very mediatic or like.
She's behind the
Pam
scenes,
Bondi.
right? Behind the scenes, working directly with the president.
You are not going to see her like Pam Bondi, for example.
Right.
Pam Bondi comes in a weekly basis. We are dealing with this subject. We're dealing with this investigation. The FBI is doing this kind of investigation. We're indicting these mafia people or these criminals or aliens or whatever, or these terrorists. It's not doesn't have that mediatic exposure. The ODNI basically works behind doors, trying to put together the standards of the intelligence community, trying to get the intelligence community together with the same analysis, with the same objective, with the same analytical standards. And obviously she will be working very, very close with Radcliffe at the CIA. So that's basically what she does. And obviously participating in her YouTube channel. Meg Kelly have a great interview with her a few days ago. And she's an amazing intelligent.
Well, it's a secrecy of intelligence, right? You can't go put ads in the paper and talk about it, right? So
no, she most likely will go to the Congress once in a while to talk about this kind of whatever subject the intelligence community or budget for the intelligence community or analytical standards, or when they ask about some specific issue about Iran, intelligence, the nuclear weapons, something like that. But it's not a mediatic,
right,
every day on the press
position,
just like Pam Bondi is, or just like Hexed is, that is all the time giving speeches on cameras, talking to the public, conference. So she's going to stay a little bit behind the doors and having occasional exposure. But again, I'm sure she's doing a great job behind doors as an ODNI. The woman is amazing. She's
That's
absolutely
awesome.
amazing. And you only have to see her videos and to understand that.
I'm glad to hear that. Hey, I know I got you for maybe a minute. So this is another area that you're very, very strong at. The Mexican cartels, the back and forth between Trump and the Mexican president.
Well, the thing is, Claudia Sheinbaum, the Mexican president, she's a leftist.
Yep.
She's the successor of López Obrador in their center-left, or more than center-left leftists. They are like more in the Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez viewpoint, because you have the PAN in Mexico that is center-right, then you have the PRI that is the historic center-left, and then you have the new left that was represented by the PRD and now López Obrador and now Claudia Sheinbaum, that is even leftist, even more to the left of the center-left.
Yeah.
And she have to play the script, Mexican independence, and we will fight.
No boots on the ground, no boots on the ground, and sovereignty. And what's going to happen there? What's because it sounds like Trump. And I know we're gonna have to pick this up because I know you got to go. But what's going to happen? Because Trump wants to take the fight to the cartels. He's telegraphing it. He's saying it very loud and clear, right?
Well, the thing is, Trump is not going to do military operations in Mexico. because obviously that will be out of proportion thing, and then the Mexico said you don't have authorization to take military operations in Mexico. What Trump wants to do, he wants to do law enforcement operations in Mexico. He wants to do DHS. But this is the brilliant thing of Trump. He declared terrorists the cartels.
Yeah, I know.
And according to the intelligence book, according to the Bible of intelligence, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to declare terrorists drug dealers, because terrorist or qualification is reserved for those people who have an ideological, political, or religious motivation. Not for people who just want to sell drugs and get rich. But this is the brilliant thing. By Trump getting away from the normal, traditional definitions in the Book of Intelligence and declaring them terrorists, that gives automatic green light to the military, to the Pentagon, to support DHS operations and CIA operations in Mexico. Not like we're going to go and we're going to do a military invasion, but that gives a lot of logistic resources, satellites, predators.
So it's use of resources, really.
Logistical resources, intelligence resources, a lot of drones and satellites and planes and things that DHS, the CIA, DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration can use. That is the brilliant plan of Trump. That's why he declared them terrorists, because now the law enforcement agencies of the United States have a lot more power and capabilities and resources, just because by declaring them terrorists, that opens the gate to DOD to support them. The thing is, Claudia obviously has to talk to her public. She has to talk to her base of peasants and agrarian peasants in Mexico, like, we will fight for the independence of Mexico and the gringos will not come here. We, the sacred of independence of Mexico is sacred, blah, 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 blah. She has to do that to the press. I do not know, obviously, what they are working underground that is not on the press, on the media, on the cameras. Most likely they are working something that is not visible, but she has to play her role, because that is the role of her party and her role of her position as a left-wing president in Mexico. She has to play that to the cameras. Whatever they are doing off the record, off cameras, I do not know, but I expect that they will cooperate. Mexico have good resources. I mean, they have the Policía Federal, they have the SSCP, the Secretaría General de Seguridad Pública. They used to have the CISEN, now they call it something else, but CISEN was a very strong, very powerful intelligence agency. I used to go over there several times when I was in Homeland Security, to the CISEN headquarters. So they have SEMAR, that also have been involved against the drugs. But she needs to play to the cameras and work quietly off the cameras with the Trump administration to do something joint. That's basically what I think Trump wants to do. He wants to use the boots on the ground of the Mexican law enforcement and military with all the resources that the United States can provide, in intelligence, satellites, predators, etc., so he can take down the drug dealer, because he declared the drug dealer, the drug cartel, as a national security threat to the United States.
Ron Aledo, ladies and gentlemen, an absolute stud. Very, very few know intelligence, cartels, you name it, military. Like Ron, you can follow him on X at Ron Aledo4, at Ron Aledo4. Hey Ron, you got to come back. We got to deep dive. We always say we're going to deep dive, and we never forget. We always forget. We end up going in so many directions, but we have to talk about this cartel situation, what it means, because it's. I'm telling you, man. I think they're telegraphing something, and Trump has had his strongest words last week, where he said she's controlled by the cartels. She can't make a move without getting the cartel's permission. I'm going to leave the show at that. Ron, thank you very much. But there's a lot to talk about when you come back.
Thank you. Thank you, Beno, for the invitation. Anytime.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Ron Aledo. Don't forget to follow him on X, Ron Aledo4, Ron Aledo4. Hopefully you guys are in tune. Start following us on social media. We're going to make sure my handles are up here going forward on X, on TikTok, on Instagram, you name it. That's kind of where we're going to be posting the most. And you can always follow us as well. We're going to be posting these on YouTube, on Rumble, on the video side. If you want to just listen to the podcast, we're on every single podcast platform: Pandora, Stitcher, Apple, iHeart, Spotify, you name it. Every single one that's possibly out there, Podbean, Podchaser, every single one, we're out there. And we're going to be on soon. We're going to be on Truth Plus, and we're going to be streaming on Getter, and a whole lot more to come. But we're going to start having fun. And a lot of cool guests are coming. There's a lot of people that are joining the administration that are friends. We're going to be having them on, talking about what's happening, and keeping you guys very, very close to the pulse, as always. We'll see you, actually, not tomorrow, but we'll see you on Wednesday. We're going to be doing Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for the month of May. And then starting in June, we're going to go every day again. All right, guys, we'll see you on Wednesday. Take care, and keep going rogue, man.